What is going on, everybody? Sorry about that. A little bit of a technical difficulties as we expect around here with me sometimes, but good to see you guys nonetheless. We didn't have any time for any fancy intros or anything like that. So here with us, Trisha Calvarese. What's going on, Trisha?
Woo! I'm thrilled to be here. It's an honor to be here. Grateful to you. You are amazing, Josh, for continuing to elevate the truth for this amazing community. And we're going to kick Lauren Boebert's butt, is what we're doing. We're going to fire her, retire her for good, and we're taking the seat back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I don't know if you were looking at the chat and you had expressed some concerns coming in also. The chat is very frustrated today. And we have a huge elephant in the room that I think we all need to address. Unfortunately, another shooting by ICE in Minneapolis today. And Trisha, the people are frustrated. The people are quite frankly pissed off right now. Where are you on this? I'm sure you're just hearing about everything too.
As they should be, right? I mean, and this is like as heartbreaking as it is, like unsurprising, right? Like we just this month we saw an American woman get shot, get killed. There was no investigation. There was no action of any kind. That's Congress's job, is oversight. Lauren Boebert voted to block a subpoena to open up the evidence, get the footage, see what the heck happened, right? And then yet she called that shooting completely justified. So it's unsurprising that it's going to continue to escalate. We're going to continue to get this. And the thing that I want everybody to understand is ICE is also spending millions, if not billions, of your hard-earned tax dollars on creating a mass surveillance network. This is like the Patriot Act, like 5.0, right? Where they're monitoring what you're doing on social network. They are connecting to ring cams, tough lock cameras, using biometric data, using any kind of data from Medicaid. And they are using this as a mass surveillance dragnet. Anybody from any party should be so concerned about just the overreach we are seeing right now from the federal government. I'm a Colorado girl. I know you are too, Josh. Like, we got a strong libertarian streak here, right? Where we care about our civil liberties. We care about the rights of individuals. That is not what we're seeing. And do not for a second, this has nothing to do with law enforcement. This has nothing to do with immigration enforcement. And if I may, if Lauren Boebert doesn't actually care about solving the immigration issue, of making an immigration system that is fair, that is transparent, and that works for everybody. Because if she would have voted for a bipartisan bill in 2024 that Donald Trump told her not to vote for. If she cared about border security, she would have showed up, done her job, and voted for the bipartisan border security bills that passed the House last year with bipartisan support. She didn't even bother to show up. I think everybody can agree, right? If people are here without documentation and they're committing violent crimes, go ahead and deport those folks. This is way beyond that. And it's thank you for being here. Thank you for speaking up. We have to exercise our rights right now while we got them. Use them or lose them right now. In this moment is how I feel. And I think anybody running as a Democrat for Congress, if they're not speaking up about it, they're in the wrong job. They are looking for the wrong job. You shouldn't need 24 hours or more to wait for your consultants to tell you that this is wrong.
Right. Absolutely. And a lot of the people out there, Trisha, are this is where we're at, where a lot of people are just fed up at this point, is basically calling for, abolish ICE immediately, defund ICE, put these people on trial. Where are you? What would say you're in Congress? What's your course of action here? How are you going to help us? We need help.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where it's so unfortunate because Boebert voted for that big, ugly billionaire bill. So like they've been funded. They are funded for a really long time. So it is now about like transparency. Like where is this money going to? How is ICE being trained? How do they have they can be masked, they can be unidentified. I'm hearing also reports of them trying to enter homes without warrants. I mean, using like a child as bait. Like what happened to our American values? So we got to get creative. We need people who can figure out how to navigate Congress, build coalitions, and hold this accountable and to get it to just frankly stop. Because this is not, I'll tell you what it's not doing. It's not lowering anybody's grocery costs, healthcare costs, your energy costs, right? This is just, it is a very fast slide to an authoritarian state. I think that we also need to call to account the people in charge, like Kristi Noem. I mean, what are we doing, Kristi? What are we doing? You know, all those folks, they need to come and testify before Congress for what the heck is going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how the government works exactly when it comes to things like that, but yes, the day we see Kristi Noem on trial will be a good day for a lot of people at this point. It's just absurd. I mean, we're watching, first the young lady, what, a week or two ago.
It feels like
That
5 years, right? Like it's already, what are we
yes.
like?
Yes, I've got a lot more gray in the beard since the last time I saw you. We just can't have a nice day around here. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And
We just can't do
someone,
that.
sorry, just someone in the comments said creative. Yeah, creative. If that needs, like, I was very hopeful about the general strike that we saw,
Mm.
like a mass peaceful protest. We haven't seen anything like that in a long time. I think getting creative like that, creative resistance, right? That remains peaceful. Don't give them anything on the other side, right? To justify their use of force, because they're going to keep going with it. But to think of
Mm.
like ways that we can resist it like that. So I was really heartened by the general strike.
Yeah, I had heard a little bit about that, a general strike. I was ready last week. I said, "Y'all want me to park this truck?" I mean, I'll join you right now. But I mean, obviously, that takes much more organization than me just doing it. But yes, of course, the response from our government, but also the response from the people, does matter. I mean, there is a lot that we could do. That we definitely could do. So I agree with that. But yeah, I want to see these people eventually at some point brought up on some sort of charges and explain what the hell they are doing out there, because this is certainly out of hand, at this point.
Absolutely. And we're, in the first killing of Nicole Good, where
Mhm.
like they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth, where they're saying, well, we got qualified immunity, but also like this fact that this particular officer had been attacked with a vehicle before. Then why the hell was that person then put right back out? Right? That's like a traumatic response. Like that's not just what is the oversight of like how the heck are these people being trained? What are the
Mhm.
actual what the heck, like what are they do? It's just unchecked federal power. It's truly terrible.
Right.
Like it is unchecked federal power. That is so un-American. I can't like and Lauren Boebert is just enabling all of it, is essentially cheering it on.
Yeah, and how is she doing that? What I mean, I know you mentioned a few things, but is she offering any kind of resistance to this at all? Like, what's
No,
going on with her?
no. She blocked the effort in Congress to actually get the footage, see it from multiple
Oh,
angles,
okay.
get the testimony, have a subpoena, open up, right? Because if we're going to believe in law and justice, right, let's practice that. That everybody gets to, you're innocent until proven guilty, but like let's review the evidence. Let's see what actually happened. Let's apply that equally. So she voted to block that process in Congress, and then
Mhm.
yet she called the shooting totally justified. How
Totally
do you
justified.
how do you do that? How do you do that? I mean,
It,
it's just again overreach of government. This is not what the people want. I talk to folks every single day. I've talked to thousands of people in our district. You know what they want? You know what they want? They want to be able to pay the bills. They want to be able to access health care. They want to be able to keep the heat on and keep the electricity on when the wind blows really hard. Because there was a bunch of outages because here we are however many years after the Marshall Fire. I get it. In Colorado, there was a really bad fire. So when the wind blows very hard, they often turn off the power. And in 2026 in the United States of America, I find that pretty embarrassing. Again, it's a safety issue, but like, let's invest in our infrastructure. Let's build up pathways to good jobs here. Let's help we're looking at the collapse of the food system at the same time. Let's focus on those issues. I mean, that to me is America first, not what we're seeing happening right now across the United States.
No, absolutely not. I think you made a good point earlier. I think a lot of people are on the side of, if there is somebody in the country committing crimes, I have never heard a Democrat say that we will not enforce that law, or we're not interested in enforcing that law. We get a lot of people say that the Democrats allow millions of people into the country, and that's not a policy I'm aware of. But I'm kind of rambling a little bit. I agree with your point. If someone's here committing a crime, by all means, absolutely, deport them. I think everyone supports that, but we've got at least 2 Americans dead at this point from at the hand of ICE, and that's not even what I wanted to talk about today. I was getting all set up to do this, and here we go. Just a very frustrating thing. And I'd like to see. Actually, you know what? I saw something. Maybe you could clarify for us here. Let me see if I can find it. This comment here says 7 Dems just gave ICE more money. Do you know what this is or what this is referring to?
So that's already in the one big billionaire bill that passed. But then there were a bunch of appropriation bills that go through individual they broke them up. And 7 Dems, yep, exactly, voted with Lauren Boebert to give ICE even more money. I personally would not have done that.
You would not have voted for that.
Nope.
That's
I think I've got more than it's too much funding. Again, we don't have water in part of our district. Like, they don't have access to clean freaking drinking water. This was for the Arkansas Valley Conduit. This was and that money had originally passed as a bipartisan bill. Boebert voted against it. And then I hit her hard on it when I ran against her in 2024. And so she knew it was going to be a campaign issue. So she slapped her name on a bipartisan bill this last session here, and the president vetoed it. And then Boebert couldn't get enough people in her committee to override. Sorry, I know that's a little bit in the weeds, but that's true. Of the 7 Dems who voted right along with Republicans. Which what's the point here, man? Like, that's where we got Trump in the first place, is because people were sick and tired of both of the sides, right, propping up this establishment that doesn't serve the people. And here we are again. That's why it's like not changing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't know much about that myself. I had heard a little bit about that, but I knew you'd have more insight. I'm happy to hear you say you would not have voted for that, because ICE is funded more than most militaries at this point. This is just insane.
The 14th, I think, of like all the world's militaries. It's like the 14th highest funding. So,
good Lord.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And back to your point about that water thing. That was such an interesting thing. That's that's clean water going to like Southeast Colorado, I believe. Lauren Boebert, how do I want to say this? It was voted on unanimously, and then Donald Trump vetoed that. And you said that she wasn't able to get the people to help her override that.
And if we can let's even back up. Like, why did President Trump veto this bill? Because we hit Lauren Boebert hard on signing the Epstein discharge petition, and that was to let the Epstein files out. Let's have transparency on that. And I mean, come on, man, that is like the largest child trafficking network that we have heard of in like a generation. Like, this is, everybody should be held accountable who's named in the Epstein files. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, like those people, those powerful men who paid to rape children should be held accountable. So we were strong on that. We said that we would sign the discharge petition. Lauren Boebert signed the discharge petition. So we think that's one reason why President Trump essentially vetoed her the water bill. But here's the thing. We knew Lauren Boebert wasn't actually a champion of survivors, of justice, because she had nominated her buddy Matt Gaetz to oversee the Epstein files. Where's Matt Gaetz, Josh? Where is he? Not in Congress. Not in Congress. The allegations he paid to have sex with a minor. And then it turns out, this was breaking just this week, Lauren Boebert literally said, "I don't give a rip about the Epstein files."
Yes. So that's the purpose of the title of today's live stream. Is you had posted that up, that she did say that. Let me see if I can actually find it. Give me a second here, Trisha. I should have been more prepared. That's what I should have done, but I know that you posted it.
There's a lot going on. A lot moving.
Yeah. But I did want to look at that. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen here, if I can remember how. It's been a while since I've done anything like that. Here's the little screen share button. Sorry, I'm an amateur YouTuber. Okay. Let's see. It should be this one here. All right. So here's what you posted over on Blue Sky. This apparently it comes from Lauren Boebert. It says, I don't give a rip about Epstein, said last week when she was asked to take stock of the month since the December 19th deadline. Then she says, like there's so many other things we need to be working on, she added, I've done what I had to do for Epstein. Talk to somebody else about that. It's no longer in my hands. That's Lauren Boebert's uh, response to that. I kind of wondered about that, Trisha, because that thing with the water that you were mentioning is Donald Trump's revenge on Lauren Boebert for signing the Epstein files. And if I remember correctly, she was pulled into the Situation Room to have a conversation about her signing that discharge petition. And I kind of wonder, and maybe I'm going down the rabbit hole a little too far here, but maybe she knew, well, I could just sign the petition. The administration isn't really going to follow the law anyways. And I could just say I did my part at that point.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing about me. Like, I'm unafraid to engage. So I went on conservative talk radio. I called her out, right, to be like, let's see if she's not actually been vocal for survivors, for getting justice. And sure enough, she followed up after me and said, oh, well, I haven't been calling out the administration on this. She doesn't care. She actually doesn't care. It's something, and this is the thing, like, MAGA voted for her. This was a critical issue. And it's something, I don't care, again, what party you're in. It is corruption in Washington, corruption by the powerful, right? Like, this is a class story. These are the most wealthy, powerful people in the world exploiting working class girls, children. And they need to be held accountable. I don't care what party they're in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that too. I mean, I think we'd be hard pressed to find anyone in the comments that disagrees with that statement. It does not matter what your party affiliation is. I don't know much about the Epstein files, but there were some rumblings of Bill Clinton maybe involved in that. And that was supposed to be the big gotcha to us. Well, Bill Clinton might be in there too. Good, get his ass if that's what's going on, And I don't know that what's in the Epstein files myself, but yeah, get them all.
We don't. Exactly. That's the whole point. We don't know.
We don't.
That's why we want transparency. Release them all. Like, let it see the light of day. That's what these victims, these survivors, absolutely deserve, and so that it doesn't happen again. And who's behind it? Like, that's the thing, is like, we don't know if President Trump is absolutely implicated or not. Again, innocent until proven guilty. But let's find out. And if it's not him, who is he protecting? Right? Mm-hmm. Is this a bigger network? Is this connected to other countries? We as Americans have a right to know.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I agree 100%. And that's kind of what I took away from that, is it was somewhat deceptive, I think. She knew that they wouldn't follow, the administration wouldn't follow the orders anyways to release the files, and she gets to walk away scot-free. Hey, I did my part. That's basically what I'm taking from that entire thing. I did my part. Leave me alone.
No. And that's like, no, we're not. Like, how dumb do you think we are? Like, she does this all the time. Where, like, she'll vote against something and then show up for, like, the ribbon cutting and be like, oh my gosh, look at this amazing project that's gonna, like, mean something great for my, my voters. And it's just like, you voted against it. How dumb do you think we are? And, like, just because you signed the Epstein petition, right? Like, literally, because I think everybody did except for, like, one person. And now you're not following through on actually getting them released, on actually getting justice for the survivors. And that's, so I'm going to keep holding her to account. We're going to fire her, and then we're going to go get transparency. We're going to go get the truth.
Yeah, I remember something like that. What was her original district? Was that District 3?
Oh, yeah. The one where she's a Florida girl. Let's get that straight. Okay. Same week she was born in Florida. I was born right here in Colorado. Okay. So, but she carpetbagged from Colorado 3 over to Colorado 4 in 2024. And this was because she maybe embarrassed herself a little bit at the Buell Theater. And, abusing workers, which, like, that's also, I mean, oh my goodness, where President Trump recently had, flipped off an auto worker in Detroit, just like Lauren Boebert had berated these theater workers at Buell. It shows you, like, they don't have respect for working people. But Lauren Boebert, after she did that, she hightailed it over to my district, Colorado 4, folks were not really, they're hardworking, they're busy, they're not necessarily paying attention. They are now, though, and we're making sure that they know not only about her shenanigans, but about her votes and how it's impacting the people in our district. Because that big ugly billionaire bill that she voted for, right, for her donors, the people who buy politicians like Boebert, it has things like write-offs for your private jet, but not for your steel-toed work boots. Like, the middle class needs a break. Hardworking Americans deserve a break.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to have the opportunity to write off the private jet myself, but I do remember something with that. I believe it was some sort of infrastructure bill she had voted against, and then she came back to Colorado after it passed and said, "Look what I have done for you."
Exactly. Yes. And you know what? I worked at the AFL-CIO. That's America's union. So that represents working people from every sector of the economy, from every political background, every walk of life. We worked so hard to pass that bipartisan infrastructure bill that's having actual impacts in Colorado including a bunch of funding for the Arkansas Valley Conduit, which meant clean water for 50,000 of our residents. And she voted against that. They're for all kinds of water projects, for road improvements that our farmers and ranchers use all the time to bring their goods to market, and for broadband for the rural parts of our district. She voted against all of that. But again, she's thrilled to go to the ribbon cuttings and take credit for it. Like, we're a bunch of idiots. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I don't know, Trisha. I just sometimes just shake my head at everything going on out there, because this is all on record. We can look all this up, but apparently, like you said, a lot of people are just busy. We're very busy with our jobs, and it's pretty easy to sometimes pull a fast one on working class America because we don't have time to look into those things. We just have to take their word for it, you know.
That's right. I mean, that, and where she's shown time and time again, she will just she'll lie. Here's another example, okay, where she retweeted something about fraud, and it was specifically about the H-1B like programs. And so Lauren Boebert is like, here, I even have the tweet where she's like, "This is fraud. I know firsthand that farmers and ranchers in Colorado go through hell following the rules of the H-1B visa program." Lauren, like, sister, girl, like, how could, like, that's for tech workers. H-1B is for tech
That's what I
workers.
thought.
Farmers use H-2A, a totally different program. Like you are, if you cannot even name the program, you're not exposing fraud. You're just exposing yourself. Get a new job. She needs a new job. It's time to fire her. Trisha Calvarese, I'm the one who's going to do it. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a perfect example because the average working class person, like I said, we don't have time to keep up with that. So you put the word visa there, and it doesn't matter how accurate or inaccurate the rest of it is. A lot of people, unfortunately, kind of fall for it, and a lot of it is because of how busy we are with our own jobs that we aren't able to keep up with that. So, yeah, that's frustrating. Because until you said the type of visa, I was like, I don't know the answer to this. I have no idea.
But I'm like, we deserve people who are going to pay attention, get the details right, and actually do the job and do a good job. Another example of where she messed up. Okay, this was fascinating. So the ACA, those are the tax credits for people who buy their health insurance on the private exchange. If we do not extend those, I mean, we've seen the price of healthcare skyrocketed. I myself, like, I was even kicking it down the can, like thinking, ooh, hopefully these prices go down. They have not. I mean, people's healthcare prices have just exploded. So Congress, the House, voted on extending these ACA credits, and Lauren Boebert voted yes. And so, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she did the right. What happened? Like, did she find Jesus? Like, I don't, find, like, whatever. Did she vote? She voted yes. But then she had to fill out a form to say, oopsie doodle, I got it wrong. I voted wrong. And so she had to fill it out. And she didn't even fill out her district, Josh. She just left that part blank. She's a carpetbagger. She probably doesn't even know.
Right, right. Well, Trisha, I have actually set up a little bit of an ambush for you today.
Ooh.
Um, I appreciate that you take the time to sit here and talk to me. I am just a humble truck driver, and my audience also appreciates that you do that for us too, obviously. But today I wanted to introduce you to someone that's got a few questions for you too. I'm going to introduce you to a mother that raised 5 children almost as a single mother through that entire time, worked to keep food on the table for them, and also put herself through college while doing all of that. And that person, that's a fighter right there, Trisha Calvarese, and that person is my mom.
Woo! Oh my gosh, I am a big fan. How you doing? Great to see you. Oh, this is awesome. This is an ambush, a family reunion. This is great.
Family reunion.
I'm a big fan of your work, Josh.
Wow, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. I am as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
I created 5 masterpieces. He's one of my favorites.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you. So good. How you doing? How's it going?
Fantastic.
Good.
Fantastic. I'm really excited to be here. A little bit nervous, but really excited.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Not at all. Not at all. This is beautiful. This is, and can I tell you, this is truly like, it's a dark time right now, but like, this is the light. Do you know what I mean? It's just ordinary folks who care about each other, who care about just making it work for hardworking people coming together, no matter what, and saying we have each other's backs. We're going to keep standing up. We're going to keep speaking up, and we're going to keep fighting back.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, so I reached out to my mom, Trisha, and said, "Hey, do you have any questions for her as someone from the working class, as somebody that raised 5 kids and did all of that college thing and working and all that?" And I think Mom's got a few questions for you.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah, I do. I do. I first wanted to start out with one just kind of to get to know a little bit more about you, and wanted to know, we all kind of have those pivotal moments that maybe influence the direction that we're headed, or maybe change the trajectory of our lives. So I want to know what the pivotal moment was for you when you said, this is the path I want to follow. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to do it. What brought you to this place that you're at right now?
Oh my gosh, I love that question. Thank you so much. I got 2 of them. So we'll start with the very first one was where, you know, I had done everything right, where I worked really hard. I was a really good student. I went to our amazing public schools right here in the district. I earned a full academic scholarship to the Johns Hopkins University. Like academic, I was really proud. So I go to Johns Hopkins, and then because the Republicans had voted to just explode the debt with wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, hadn't invested in American infrastructure or jobs, and then had enabled reckless speculation on Wall Street, the economy just tanked. This was 2008, 2009. So I'm graduating into that. And when my roommates are a bunch of, you know, they're from the elite, like these are heiresses, and their dads can't, you know, they're like, we're making calls and we can't get you girls jobs. Like, oh my, what am I going to do? So I thought, okay, this has to change. And I looked at the least popular place in the country, which was the US Senate. So I just started calling every single office in the Senate. And I ironically heard from the 2 independents. Lieberman's office was like, no, thanks, you're way too much from the West. But Senator Bernie Sanders' office was like, we've never had a press intern before. And I was like, all right, great, sign me up. And I will never forget writing that press release, too big to fail, too big to exist, about accountability for these big banks that caused the crash and got a bailout while Main Street never did. And that just kind of I've been a fighter for America's working and middle class ever since. But, you know, running for Congress takes kind of a special kind of energy. And that is because, so in 2023, you know, my dad had kidney cancer and his medicine had stopped working. So I was trying to save up my leave, you know, to come home for December to take some time off and, you know, really spend it with him. When I got a call that October from my mom, and she said it wasn't the flu, it was pancreatic cancer. So those are both my parents with terminal cancer, and I'm an only child. Thank God for my union, for AFGE, where we had union negotiated benefits that let my colleagues donate leave so I could drop everything and come home and provide their care. Now in Highlands Ranch, which is it's a prosperous middle-class community, there were no other options. There were no beds. If I could not have been here, they would have died horrible deaths. And I'll tell you, there was one specific moment, Mama Josh, where my mom didn't quite make it to the toilet. My dad was throwing up on the stairs. Someone was at the front door. I was on the phone, and literally on the other end, they're like, "So go ahead and fax that form over." I am an elder millennial. You tell me, I don't even know what a fax is. I don't know where to find it. That's violent. That's not going to work for anybody. Nobody should have to fight a bureaucracy when you are fighting for more time with the people you love. So mom passed, and my dad died 13 days later. And, he was a Republican, a lifelong Republican. And before he died, he told me, "Kid, you need to step up. Like, it's on your generation now. You gotta step up and serve these communities that have given you everything." So that's what I did. I decided to step up and run, and against those political headwinds. So as a first-time candidate, no name ID, no help from the National Party, I overperformed the top of the ticket by 7 points on a promise of a stronger middle class and affordability. And I'm running to finish the job. And for our rural communities, which so deserve representation. They feel like they don't have a voice in Denver or in DC. And I've become like radicalized for them. So I'm fighting for them. I'm fighting for families like yours.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Trish. I appreciate the detail in that. And I absolutely can empathize with where you're coming from, actually probably sympathize, because my father also passed from cancer, which they believe started as pancreatic cancer, but by the time they caught it, it was so far advanced they didn't know exactly the start. So I appreciate you just being so vulnerable with that answer.
Well, and that's what, like, people want people in Congress who live the same issues they do. So I hear literally every single day, people talk about how hard it is to take care of the people they love. I get it. I know exactly what that feels like, to carry your family's responsibility with no safety net while your bills pile up. And it doesn't need to be this hard. It just doesn't. And, especially with cancer, we're in the AI era. So right now we are on the brink of so many cures, of so many breakthroughs. And that's because of decades of public investment of your tax dollars going towards that research. I want to make sure it continues. And I want to make sure in the final mile, those cures don't just belong to a couple of CEOs, but that they belong to everybody, to families like yours, like mine, anybody who's ever been in a cancer ward praying for a miracle.
And that really kind of gives me a great segue into my next question. I am also a breast cancer survivor. I also, I didn't really grow up anywhere. My dad was military and then went into the ministry. We moved a lot. But the closest I came to calling any place home was a little community in eastern Colorado, Stratton, Colorado. And that was the closest I ever came to knowing home. And as I'm sure you're well aware, that's a very rural, agricultural community. And so I know that you have a strong focus on rural healthcare. So what I want to know is, what is your position on universal healthcare, and what specific reforms do you support to improve affordability and access to care?
I don't care what you call it. You call it universal, call it whatever you want, right? Because I know some words scare people. Okay, we'll change the language. In the United States of America, the wealthiest country to ever exist, I don't think anybody should go without care, without, the life-saving, the preventative care. And I'll tell you, these rural hospitals are absolute pillars of our community, right? Of the communities that grow our food, make our fuel. And that's right through, Josh, you drive through them all the time. That's if you depend on anything in life, like you depend on these communities, they deserve care. They are way overdue for an investment in their infrastructure. These are critical infrastructure pieces. Just because they're small, independent rural hospitals, they get reimbursed at a totally unfair rate. And this is, the majority of their patients are older, are sicker, are poorer. And so they are on Medicaid and Medicare. And the reimbursement rate is not at 100% for these hospitals, which is, go cut the red tape, right? Like the unglamorous issue of getting in there, figure out the sequestering issues, cut that red tape, and make sure that these hospitals can remain whole. It's an absolute emergency. With that big, ugly billionaire bill, Lauren Boebert voted for cuts that could potentially decimate our hospitals. And she just voted again for another cut in this last series of bills that's going to absolutely hurt them. We need to invest in these communities, in these hospitals. It is beyond time to break up big insurance companies. It is corporate capture top to bottom, where just a handful of companies own your insurance. They own your pharmacy. They own the pharmacy benefit manager, which dictates your cost. They own the hospitals. They own the providers, top to bottom. That's not competition. That's not free market. It is too big to care, and it is not working for anybody. So I think that there is potential momentum right now. Like people are seeing how devastating this is across the board to do something. I'm fighting with my whole entire heart on this one. So I'm with you, whatever it takes. Folks in this country deserve care.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the biggest challenges that I know I've faced is I'm considered to be in remission as I'm still actively on a medication. So I'm considered to be in remission. So I see my oncologist frequently. I live in Arizona, and so I travel. And there have been times, one occurrence recently, when they couldn't get all of my appointments on the same day. It's a 4-hour trip for me. And so I had to make a decision. Do I stay in a motel an extra night, or do I use telehealth, which is not paid for by my insurance? Now, I made the wrong decision. I went ahead, I used telehealth. It cost me more than a motel room would have cost me.
That's crap. That's garbage. Like we need the infrastructure. Let's get the high-speed internet, and let's go ahead and get the telehealth available. I would also say, let's even look upstream of that. How difficult it is to become a doctor or a healthcare provider. You have to take out loans. You have to go through this cut it out, cut the pieces out that are archaic that we don't need anymore. And this was again there's so much in that big ugly billionaire bill that Boebert voted for, where it caps the amount of loans you can get. So it's now essentially blocked working and middle class people from becoming doctors. We need more doctors. We need more providers. We need the telehealth. And frankly, we also need transportation. We should have public transportation for when we can't get those specialists out to our rural parts of the country, to our district, that folks can have access, because you go through chemo, you don't want to turn around and drive back. You're exhausted. Exactly. You don't want to pay for the motel. And this is where we need infrastructure all throughout the rural parts of our district, where we need housing so that we can attract the providers who do want to move there. And how do we do that, right? That's going to cost a lot of money. We're going to raise taxes. This is one big thing I want to do. There's already a Reagan-era tax code on the books. All we have to do is enforce it. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring home a bunch of money from big tech and big pharma that's hiding in offshore accounts. It's up to $1 trillion. $1 trillion that belongs to the American people. Let's invest it in our infrastructure. Let's bring it to rural. Let's build the housing. Let's build the pieces we need to attract people to our communities, keep them growing, right? And make sure that everybody has that access. Because again, it's 2026, right? It should not be this way.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm really enjoying myself, and Josh, I'm going to try not to take all of your time, but
go for it.
Like you had mentioned at one point, you just put 2 Italian women on here, so
if we're gonna talk. And can I just say, women of your generation, the reason women from my generation can run, can do any of these things, is because of the path that women like you paved. And I recognize how hard it was for women like you to get into the workforce. And I'm so proud I got to work at the labor movement as Liz Schuler became the very first woman ever to lead the U.S. labor movement. It is now the largest organization of working women in the country. And I feel so passionate about making sure that there are opportunities, especially for women, economic opportunities. And again, in a community like Douglas County, where I live, I hear all the time from these women who go through, divorces, and they're trying to get into the workforce, and they're like, I don't have the resume. I'm now responsible, for my kids. I don't know how I'm going to make my mortgage. I am terrified. Like, there is so much dignity in having a path to a good middle class job that should be available to everyone. So that's a big thing we did in the labor movement, was making sure that these apprenticeship pathways to good middle class jobs were welcoming and available to women. So solidarity, sister. Appreciate you.
Fantastic. Which also is another really great segue into the next question that I have for you. As Josh had mentioned, single mom, 5 kids. I was a high school dropout, and I remember thinking, what am I going to do? How do I move forward from here? I didn't really know the direction to go, but I knew that I wanted to show my kids that regardless of the decisions that we make in our younger lives, that we still have the ability to move forward and to just really do something with our lives. Your past decisions do not have to define you. And so I was a young mom, ended up divorced with 5 kids, and decided that I wanted to go to college. And so I went to what was Mesa State College in Grand Junction, Colorado. And it was a tough decision, because I knew somehow I was going to have to support the kids while I was doing this. But I knew it was the right decision. And so I got my bachelor's degree. I ended up in a whole lot of debt. Don't regret the fact that I got my education, because it not only gave me the education, but it gave me a confidence that I was lacking as well. I did really well. I was proud of myself. I gained that confidence that I needed to help me to move forward. So as somebody who has faced some of the financial pressures of being a student, and also working and trying to raise a family at the same time, could you share your position on student loan debt relief, including whether you support any form of cancellation or restructuring to ease the burden to borrowers?
Well, we have to. We have to do it. I mean, we have to. There's no question about it. We have to do it. And it is so heartbreaking, especially to talk to these young kids who, again, they did everything that they thought was right, that they were told this is the American dream. This is the path to the middle class. You work hard, you go to college, and you're going to be able to get a good family supporting job. And where they're being locked out of opportunity before they even get their start. And some of that is because of AI. We're seeing a lot of these companies, they're not hiring anymore. They're using these robots. They're using chatbots instead. And this is where, like, I want pathways to those good, dignified middle-class jobs starting in high school. This is where we need to be partnering with the trades, as well as build pathways to the industries of the future, and where we should be building. And this is, you can use the platform of your office as a congressional representative to help build these connections. I love IBEW 68. They have one of the best models, and I love to lift them up. And they just have a woman was elected president of their local, very cool. But where it's an earn while you learn model. So you can become a journeyman apprentice. You're making money the whole time. And then on top of that, you can get your bachelor's for free, right? And you can do that in, computer engineering. This is how we're going to finance the next generation of engineers who both have the tactical skill and the academic knowledge. And I'll say in our district, so it's 21 counties, borders 5 states. We don't have a single traditional college or university, but we have amazing community colleges. And we need to make sure that they're connected with the job providers, that there's that you're not taking out loans for things that don't lead to a degree. That's not fair. And there should absolutely be pathways to debt forgiveness. I mean, I wish I could wave a wand and just get rid of it today. But we're especially, like, if you're going to serve your country, if you're going to, step up and join the civil service, I think especially as we look at this shift in technology, where you have guys like Elon Musk, all kinds of, these tech guys who are saying that very soon they're going to replace human labor with robots. We need some kind of jobs guarantee. We need an actual strategy and a plan, because I'm for the dignity of human work through and through.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah. And, I paid on my student loans faithfully for well over 20 years and just couldn't dig myself out of them. I was fortunate enough that those loans were forgiven. But it was a challenge all the way through, just to figure out, how am I going to, now I've got this education, but I still was struggling to get that career path where I was going to be able to afford the education that I got, and afford to take care of the kids. So, I definitely faced some challenges there. So I was really interested to know what your thoughts were around that as well.
And again, making it work for the middle and working class, right? Where if you're some billionaire, you can take out all kinds of loans. You can do all kinds of things, right? Where the CEO of OpenAI, even their, chief financial officer, was looking at their profit model, and they literally were like, well, maybe we're going to need like a federal bailout soon. We don't get federal bailouts. Like that's not fair. So we need people who are going to go in and fight for the middle and working class people, and just to make it easier to live. Like, it's just this kind of like stress and pressure. Like, that's seeing, my parents died when I was 36. I lost my entire family. Like, time is so precious, where you want to be able to, like, not only take care of your family when they're sick, but be able to, heaven forbid, spend time with them when they're well, and to enjoy that time. That's what I'm fighting for. Yeah,
Thank
sorry,
you.
Josh. Sorry, I know you got your two Italians over here.
No, absolutely. I definitely wanted to bring my mom on to ask some questions. Did you have some more after that, or?
I've got a few, but I'm trying to decide. Well, maybe you can tell me, with what you've seen in Colorado, and what you've learned as you're going through this, what do you think that DC could really use a lesson in, that you could teach them, that you could educate them?
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I mean, power's with the people. Like, power doesn't come from the top down. It comes from the bottom up. It comes from the folks. It comes from the hardworking, everyday people. And like, at the end of the day, like, division is part of the like program that benefits establishment and structures of power. So I think that there is like an aspect of dehumanization that we're seeing that we need to fight. Like, I go on conservative talk radio. I talk to those people. I bring my beliefs to it. And where we can find common ground, we can find common ground. I think it's time for a new generation of leadership, frankly. I think, we need some more millennial voices in there of people who every single day of their adult lives have been affected by these economic forces that like we didn't create, but where we're having to clean up the mess. So I think maybe, let us have a hand in the cleanup. I think it's long past time.
Fantastic. Absolutely. I agree 100%. And I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate talking to you. And I have had this conversation with Josh where politically I am not as adept as he is. And so I appreciate that you speak to things in a way that I can better understand them. It's really hard when people are speaking at such a high level that it really comes out just sounding like absolute chaos to me. I don't understand it sometimes. So I appreciate the way you speak and the way you bring it to a level that is so understandable to even those of us who may not really have as much knowledge. So I want to
don't discount your knowledge. Don't discount your knowledge at all. Like, you're here having these discussions. You are so knowledgeable, and you have every right to understand what the heck is going on. Not the jargon and the like, well, I know better. That's part of it, is to treat us like a bunch of dummies who don't know what's going on. And that's just not true. And that's Josh, why it is so important and so special that you're using your platform to help educate people. You are awesome. Like, you're amazing. You guys are great. Oh, I love this family. You guys are so Yeah. Adopted me, like it or not. So.
Yeah, we could probably do that. I'm sure we could make that work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was sort of my point too with starting the channel is I always say this the wrong way sometimes, I feel like, but I felt like I was getting talked down on by the left-wing content creators. And I said, man, I'm just a simple trucker. Can we just talk in normal words? I think that matters. I really do.
And and can I tell you, that's part of how we got Donald Trump, right? Is because we had these structural problems. We had these structural issues, and Democrats didn't address them when they could have. And Donald Trump spoke to working class people. He co-opted the language of the labor movement, frankly, right? In both the terms and speaking to the needs of working people. Now, he didn't deliver on any of it, right? And I think that, Vice President Harris gave it a very admirable effort given what she had. But, where Democrats were not trustworthy or honest about President Biden's health. And that really hurt us, that hurt with the credibility. And I'll tell you what, these very good Democratic pollsters, some of the best in the business, had a very important message for Democrats for 2026. Stop treating moderates and unaffiliated voters like a bunch of Nikki Haley moderate Republicans. If that were the case, Ken Buck, our traditional Republican representative from this district, would still be in power. Instead, we got to address folks on the economic issues. And in terms that they can understand, right? Naming the bad actors, where it is big tech, big pharma, big ag, big insurance, and somebody who's going to actually fight for the little guy. So that's I feel like you folks are just so aligned with that. And that's where the Democratic Party needs to go, frankly. And it is a gut check moment for the Democrats, who we are, what we stand for. And I'll tell you, it's an absolute honor. I got the chair of the Colorado Libertarian Party flipped to Democrat because of our campaign. And so she's helping us out. She's amazing, Hannah Goodman. And where it's that kind of like old new school Democrat of like, let's get back to our roots, fighting for the middle class, speaking in terms everybody can understand, standing up for our farmers and our ranchers. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with our campaign.
Right. Fantastic. All right. Mom, did you have anything else you wanted to ask? Anything?
I don't think so. I think that takes care of what I had. I appreciate you having me here.
Of course. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and let you go. We probably got a few viewer questions to get through, but I appreciate you stopping by to ask some questions.
Great. Thank you so much. I will see you soon.
Great to meet you.
Nice meeting you, Trisha.
That was awesome.
All right. Little ambush for you.
Like, oh my gosh. Single mom was like, you don't have Lauren Boebert, do you? Because let's go.
That would have been amazing. I should have thought of that. That would have been fantastic.
We'll invite her on. We'll debate her anytime, any place. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But I wanted to ask you about something because you did get a little bit of pushback the last time you were on, and pushback's a good thing, right? This is what people are thinking. And you kind of mentioned it while you were talking to my mom also about the universal health care. You say you don't care what you call it, just get it done, right? Yeah. And there are a lot of people, like I was talking about earlier, I'm trying to word this the right way because we are busy. We're all very busy working our jobs. And if you don't use the term universal health care, you kind of lose the attention of people. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I did have a few comments last time you were on that said, I cannot support somebody that does not say universal health care. And I guess my question is just more of a messaging question. How do you get that across to people that are kind of looking for that specific thing?
I mean, again, but if you say Medicare for all, right? Some people will shut out of the debate, like a public option, again, whatever you want to call it, there should be a universal standard. I believe it's a right. I believe it is part of your dignified human rights that you should have access to care, especially in the United States in 2026. Period.
That works for me. That does work for me as an answer.
Yeah, like whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever you like, it's not working for I'll tell you this. I have not met a single person on the trail who's like, I like the insurance I have. I like the healthcare system. It's working. It is not working for anybody. And it's too big to care. It is too big to care right now, where it is just this corporate capture. We have to break it up. We have to, and it's, again, we're in this like era of AI where you are seeing innovation. You are seeing a lot of like inspiring, hopeful things that could be developed. It's time to innovate, and in a way where like everybody has access to it.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. So I want to ask anybody in the audience that feels like maybe we didn't address anything. Trisha, you have time for more?
A little bit. I gotta hop in, like, you do like 15 more minutes, then I gotta hop.
15 more minutes. So if we can get some anybody that has a question maybe there. And remember, Trisha4Colorado.com. This is well, you can explain how your campaign is funded instead of me doing it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't take a cent of corporate PAC money. I don't take a cent of any foreign interest. It is 90,000 donors, small dollar donors. Our average donation is under $20. And just last quarter, and thank you so much to your help, Josh, we raised over $1 million. Wow. So yeah, I'm also part of the End Citizens United Unrig Washington campaign, where, you know, no corporate PAC money. I'm going to ban insider stock trading and crack down on dark money in DC. That I am running on that platform. And there's actually polling on it that shows that can give you as much as a 7-point bump, which is huge. I mean, that's going to help us flip this district.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the good news is that there's a lot of things I think in Democrats' favor right now that is going to help us flip this district, which actually brings me to a question. A lot of people are very concerned right now that there's going to be an actual cancellation of the midterm elections. What are you hearing on this? There's so much concern.
I hear that, and I'm hopeful. We have to demand that they happen, right? Like it's so critical to democratic process or our elections. We need to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. This is to ensure voting rights, essentially. And Lauren Boebert introduced a very dangerous bill called the SAVE Act, which it's a redundant bill. It says you have to be a citizen to vote, like that's already the law. But where it would essentially, because it would have like an undue burden for the type of ID you would have, it makes it so much harder if you are rural, or if you're a woman who changed her name because you got married, to vote. Mm-hmm. So she introduced that. She wants to move to make Colorado. We have an excellent election system. You can vote by mail or you can go in person, and we need to keep that integrity. But this is why it is so important we continue to speak out, to show up, fight back while we can.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I hear there's a lot of concern about that. And obviously, we don't know what's going to happen one day to the next. But of course, the elections handled at the state level, as far as I know, for the time being. So let me see. I was just trying to see if we had maybe a question from someone that we could end on here. And I'm not. Let's see. It's a good thing. A good thing with AI is you can use it to identify masked ICE morons. Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyways, I'm not seeing.
Okay, and on AI, I'm seeing lots. So here's the thing with AI. So I was a civil servant in science and tech. Okay. Mm-hmm. We were working on a bill, the Chips and Science Act, to democratize access to AI, because we could use technology to help solve some of our biggest problems, right? For the way that we help farmers identify like the soil structure to get more crops, to help us use our water better, to help us rise to the challenges of how do you feed people on a warming planet, right? Like, how do you find cures, right? AI could be used for good. The problem right now, those good innovation jobs are concentrated on a few places on the coasts, right? And they need to come to places like Colorado that have been treated like flyover country. And we're seeing it be concentrated in the hands of a few tech bros for some very, very scary utilizations, right? Where it's determining what information you see, if you have access to a job, if you can be denied, for a mortgage or other pieces of your consumer rights. It's also how law enforcement is using it is potentially terrifying, where they are using your tax dollars to build this safety layer, this dragnet, essentially to monitor citizens. And that's where we need accountability. We need people who understand AI, right? Who can see where it could be, it's, how could it be used for good? And where could it have devastating effects that are going to impact people? And especially as it starts to replace jobs. And that's anecdotally, I'm hearing that more and more every day of people who are like, I'm a software engineer. I've had a great job my whole life. I support my family. I've lost my job and I can't find another one. Of planning, what does that look like? Because what does the economy look like, Josh, if it is a bunch of robots? How does that work?
I do not know.
Right, exactly. Like, we need to get in front of it. What does that look like? How can we ensure the integrity and the dignity of working people always, no matter what?
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I believe you said you have something you had to go off and do. You're always so busy with everything.
You know it. Reaching the voters. It's a big district. So, but so grateful to come on here. Really appreciate you and this just like amazing community. Guys, keep speaking up. If you please follow us, help share and amplify our stuff, because we are a grassroots campaign. We are of, for, and by the people.
All right, absolutely. And of course, I always appreciate you stopping to talk. What the hell am I saying? Exactly. Stopping by to have a talk with me, Trisha Calvarese. One way or another, I will get those words out.
You rock, brother. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Well, we're going to head out. So thanks all for stopping by. Love you guys. Bye now.